Are you an aspiring tech entrepreneur who dreams of making it big? Or maybe you're an experienced tech executive who is looking for their next big thing. Either way, there are programs right here in Ottawa to help you test your business concept, grow your revenues, and scale your technology venture. Today, we speak to someone who is central to growing Ottawa's technology ecosystem. Plus, we take a look at three companies have benefited from these programs. All this and more coming up on Techopia Live. Hey everybody, I'm Michael Curran from the Ottawa Business Journal. Welcome to another episode of Techopia Live. This is a regular podcast from OBJ that features executives from next generation companies. We want to introduce you to the up and comers. That's a little bit of today's show. And we want to keep you updated on the established players, all with a goal of keeping Ottawa's technology sector informed and connected. In today's episode, we talk with the region's leading economic development agency, which is celebrating a big milestone. It turned 10 years old recently, had a great party. I was there along with hundreds of other people. The agency has many facets, but today we're going to focus on its efforts to accelerate the growth and scale up of local technology companies. And we'll do so by looking at three promising companies that have benefited from these programs. Now let's welcome our guest. He is the VP of Venture at Invest Ottawa and a longtime acquaintance and friend of OBJ. Here is Nick Quain. Hey, Nick.
Hey, Michael. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to see you. I bumped into you at the anniversary party. It was a great party, by the way. Just reconnecting with all those familiar faces, seeing the current staff and all the people that have helped grow Invest Ottawa and its precursor Oakru of the years. But let's talk about you, Nick. So tell us a little bit about your job at Invest Ottawa.
Yeah, so I'm the vice president of venture at Invest Ottawa, and I basically work with a team whose mandate is to support local entrepreneurs to build their businesses. We're an economic development agency. We want to see jobs get created in our city, and our team is there to specifically lean in with tech as well, because that is one of the hardest businesses to get off the ground and needs a lot of support. But when it does work, as we've seen with Shopify and many other anchor firms in this city, it creates a massive economic impact. So we're there to join the ride for this fun sort of ascent for so many of the founders and tech startups.
And we won't get too far into your backstory, but I think it's worth mentioning, Nick, that you were a technology entrepreneur for many years. Do you want to touch on that for a second?
Yeah, so and I think that's one of the reasons I ended up joining. Not only do I like hanging out with entrepreneurs and founders and like the energy that it brings, but I think I'd made every mistake possible. So it was an opportunity for me to leverage that experience to maybe shorten the path to success for some other founders. So I had my own tech startup starting back in 2000 and been a long-standing member of the Ottawa tech ecosystem. So it was a fun, it's a real fun job for me to jump into. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I can tell we've talked about this several times, but you got a great energy, and I can tell you're very enthusiastic and passionate about what
I want to talk about these companies too, Michael.
Yeah. We're going to shift the focus to the companies in a second, but I want to pause for a second and just recognize this really significant milestone, which is Invest Ottawa celebrating its 10th anniversary. So, as someone who's been an entrepreneur, as someone who is effectively a coach of startups, reflect on some of what Invest Ottawa has accomplished over the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, it was really fun retrospective to sort of, look back and have so many of the different stakeholders come back and so many of the different entrepreneurs that had been supported to come back to celebrate, that took you down memory lane a little bit, but also helped you appreciate really long term the impact that happens, like the seeds that are planted with an organization like ourselves. They're often years, and then you even see decade later some of the economic impact that some of the companies have made. And certainly for myself, 10 years ago, I was an Invest Ottawa client. I was running my own startup and getting a little bit of support from Invest Ottawa. So to have everybody converge at Bayview Yards as well, which was the 6-year anniversary of this building, was awesome, because a big part of Invest Ottawa now is our location. We're kind of the watering hole for entrepreneurs. So to have everybody assemble here was a lot of fun.
And I think, it was a very wise decision, of course, to celebrate. I think sometimes we don't really mark these milestones, and it was an opportunity, I think, for some people in the room, in the conversations I was having, to reflect back on, oh yeah, that was Oakry, and then Invest Ottawa came,
Yeah.
and look at, as you referenced Bayview Yards, it was quite literally an abandoned municipal garage. And I remember touring it, before this incredible transformation. By the way, the space is beautiful. So it's worth just reflecting on that a little bit, right, Nick? As we think about how the technology industry and entrepreneurship is evolving in
No,
Ottawa.
there's no question. When they had their offices on Aberdeen and Queensview, those were places that I had visited. And then when I was brought in here just to be, an advisor at one point, I looked around and I saw all these entrepreneurs, all these founders. I saw two that I knew quite well sitting on a couch. I still remember vividly, helping each other. And I thought, oh my God, this is magic. All these people are in this building, like, day to day. So it really is a fantastic place, because, entrepreneurship's a lonely journey, and that type of serendipity and connections that happen with everyone in the same place, there's no question. It's a big plus of what's provided to the ecosystem.
Yeah, it reminds us, in a post-pandemic, world, that space is still important, and certainly Bayview Yards is a great space. Nick, it would probably take a long time to go through all your programs, all the different ways that you specifically are helping, and you and your team are helping local technology companies. But can you touch on a couple of the main programs that people might be interested in?
Yeah, for sure. So we call it our venture path, where our programs, resources are all sort of available, because different companies, different founders at different stages need different sort of levels of help, different types of advisors, and so forth. So at the very beginning, the early stage programs are really our ignition boot camp. So founders at a very early idea stage, pre-revenue typically. We have a 10-week boot camp we run quarterly, that we have anywhere from 15 to 20 founding teams join. Super fun program, because you've got all of this enthusiasm, energy, and naivete of the founders that come in, and they work together and support each other through these 10 weeks to really take their idea through the ringer. Some fail fast, some pivot, and some it's a springboard to success. And also at the early stage, we have a flex program with early stage advisory and a number of other resources to support those graduates of ignition to get to traction, to get to customers, to get to revenue. And beyond those early stage programs, we have two other programs. We have our accelerator. Our accelerator is really for the, I'd say the top, 30 startups in the city are going through that program at any given time. And that's to help companies get to product market fit and be scalable. And then finally, we have a scale up program for companies beyond that stage. So at the millions of dollars in revenue already, with the mandate to see more anchor firms get to the $100 million mark. We want to see more get to where Shopify got to, can access Ross Video, the full script, so that we can have more of those big anchor bellwether firms in our city.
And I should point out, we won't get you to switch your camera at that, but if anyone wanted to visualize what Invest Ottawa is doing, it's behind you on the wall. So if everyone can imagine a room that is basically filled in these stages, early kind of the startup and the scale up, and you've got all these great little companies that you're situated on those walls and where they are. It's quite a visual impact there, Nick. It's a great idea, by the way.
Thank you. That's a lot of fun.
Okay, so we talked about Invest Ottawa. We now want to talk about the companies that have benefited from some of its help. But before we do that, I want to pause for a second and recognize the sponsor of this episode, a great locally headquartered law firm that does a lot of work with technology companies. Here's more about Perley, Robertson, Hill, and McDougall.
Tech companies must move at the speed of light, and they need a law firm that moves just as fast. Perley, Robertson, Hill, and McDougall has developed long-standing expertise in helping tech companies address their legal matters. As Ottawa's largest premier full-service law firm, Perley, Robertson, Hill, and McDougall has provided a number of specialized legal services for the past 50 years. Pearlie Robertson, Hill & McDougall's in-house legal experts can help tech companies with financing strategies, venture capital, private placements and public offerings, mergers and acquisitions, intellectual property protections, shareholder agreements, and much more. To learn more about how Pearlie Robertson, Hill & McDougall can help your company, visit perlaw.ca.
And we're back speaking with Nick Quain, the VP Venture at Invest Ottawa. Nick, as you know, Invest Ottawa is a co-sponsor of an award called #NextBigThing. And the award is presented annually at the Best Ottawa Business Awards, also known as the Bobs. It's a big gala in the fall produced by OBJ and the Ottawa Board of Trade. And what's neat about this is you and your team play a leading role in selecting some of the high promising companies that have benefited from Invest Ottawa. And what we thought would be fun is to take a look at some of the recipients of Next Big Thing. And we have some short videos. So we're going to play some videos here, 3 of them, one at a time, not in succession. And we're going to get you to comment a little bit on them, Nick. So let's take a look at the first company. Here it is.
Hi, my name's Nick. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Ekidna. At Ekidna, we enable manufacturers to eliminate production bottlenecks, bring their products to market faster, and create higher quality, more valuable products. And we do this by tackling the problem of traditional laboratory-based testing, which is really slow and can take anywhere from 1 day to a couple weeks to get lab results back about their processes. The solution to this problem is providing lab-accurate data on the manufacturing floor. And we do this with a rapid sensing platform that has, a sensor device, a reader device, and some software associated with it. And this gets manufacturers data really fast with their processes and allows them to make instant decisions. We're really grateful to receive the Next Big Thing award, and appreciate your support in this.
Awesome. Congratulations again to Ekidna. So Nick, tell us a little bit about Ekidna and what you know of them.
Well, first off, he's got a great name, so gotta love Nick right off the bat.
Sure.
Really cool example of something that's a bit more of a disruptive technology, like a deeper technology. It's nanotechnology. It's lab on a chip, which has some really massive implications if it can be rolled out, widespread to manufacturers and producers across a variety of different industries. The idea that all of a sudden in a couple of minutes you can test something instead of packaging it, shipping it, sitting there twiddling your thumbs and waiting back to see how you're doing. And I really like the approach they took. This is an application that can hit a number of different industries, but they recognize that cannabis was a huge growing industry that had a lot of innovation happening with it, but at the same time, there's the opportunity to jump right in there at the ground floor of helping these businesses. And they're able to do in 5 minutes a quick test of the THC and CBD levels for cannabis instead of shipping it out. That immediately adds some amazing efficiency and avoids the bottlenecks that they run into on the production side. So they've done a great job getting pilots, converting the majority of their pilots into paid customers, and it's really exciting to see what Nick and his team are doing.
That's great. We've seen the cannabis industry, of course, through companies like Canopy Growth and others grow. I always find it interesting when you get the companies develop on the periphery. So, you got Shopify, and then you've got, the Shopify ecosystem. It's neat to see. Well, thanks for that, Nick. We're going to take another look at a company that does a little bit of a learning take, and let's roll that video now.
I'm Sarah Sedgman, founder and CEO of LearnExperts. I created LearnExperts in 2019 to solve a problem I lived my whole career in tech, which is the slow, mundane process to create courses. We help companies create their courses 3 times faster than the industry average. We're so excited to be winners of the Next Big Thing with other great companies as well.
Another neat company. Tell us what you know about LearnExperts, Nick.
Well, first off, it's a great story because Sarah is the former chief customer officer at Kinaxis. Okay, she's sort of a big deal in the learning and adoption space, one of the foremost experts, to the point we actually hired her as a scale-up advisor on learning adoption. So all the top, growing scale-up companies in the city would would turn to Sarah for help with their learning and adoption. And learning adoption, not everyone understands it, but you think of software companies rolling out products that have some level of complexity. They need content and training tools to help partners, channel partners, customers, staff, everyone sort of learn how to use the product. And Sarah's obviously one of the foremost experts, and she joined our Ignition program. So here you have one of the more prominent executives in our city joining this 10-week boot camp, and then leveraging her experience, but also that sort of humility to build this tech product and really learning with an open mindset how to build a tech company. And it is really cool, like what they're doing of being the ability. You think about it as someone goes to roll out a product, if they can almost roll out their learning and adoption programming right at the same time, because usually it was very much waterfall. Like once it's done, it's like, oh yeah, now we need to teach people how to use it. So and a very creative platform called Leia, so LearnExperts AI, which is like their course creation platform. So really cool to see, and a cool story of where she, her plans were to bootstrap it, but then the demand was high enough, both from customers, product development, and from investors, that she did a decent size pre-seed round a while back. So excited to see where Sarah takes it from here.
Wow. I can completely see that, right? Especially in the software area, you need to get customers understanding the platforms and adopting them in a fulsome way. And if they do that, the stickiness with that customer is going to go through the roof, right, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, we got one more company to show you. Let's roll that third video.
Hi, my name is Fahim Sheikh, co-founder and CEO of Trellis. Trellis is a B2B SaaS platform that helps brands operate and grow on e-commerce marketplaces like Amazon, Wayfair, Walmart, and more. There's over 150 marketplaces globally today. With over 3 million brands selling on these marketplaces and 5 billion monthly shoppers, these brands need a platform like Trellis. We use the latest advances in AI and automation to better manage their advertising dollars, as well as figuring out the right price for their products. We are very humbled to be considered as Ottawa's next big thing.
Awesome. And again, tell us a little bit more about Trellis.
Well, Trellis is a cool one because you touched on like the sort of shadow of cannabis and what it's very similar e-commerce tech, right? Companies like Rewind, Noibu, and now Trellis are all in this ecosystem. There's probably no better place in the world than to start an e-commerce tools product company in the software space. And they're a great example. 3 experienced founders. So you've got Fahim, and one of his co-founders, Dennis, had been at Juniper, BTI. Fahim had also been at Knowit. The other co-founder, Christian, had been 360 PI and Numerator. So you had these 3 experienced founders come together and again decided to join our Ignition program, which is typically first-time founders, although we get some experienced folks in there, and they were amazing. Like Fahim was in there giving more than he got, helping those other founders, sort of a lot of them first time, help them with their first steps on their journey. And it speaks to their open mindset as well. Sort of similar to Sarah, we're coming in and really want to, take our idea through the ringer. And they were really smart in the way they approach things. You hear how Fahim describes what they're doing now. It's really a demand generation platform. But when they started, they were super focused. It was helping advertisers on Amazon. And then from there, they expanded from Amazon. Once they started to hit nail some level of product market fit, then started rolling out with Wayfair, Walmart, and Google Shopping. And similarly, advertising, it started with advertising, but then expanded into they now provide services on pricing and market intelligence. So really cool to see how they sort of landed and expanded with a very focused approach to start.
That's really neat. Nick, we'll start wrapping up here in a second, but if someone's watching this video and they've got a technology idea, potentially they're new to the game, or potentially, as you just said, they're like a serial entrepreneur or an intrapreneur inside an established company, what's the best way for them to make an approach at Invest Ottawa?
Yeah, you can just reach out to us directly at investottawa.ca. You can reach out to me or one of the team members on LinkedIn. And just remember, it's never too early to have a conversation. around your journey. We get a lot of people who reach out to us, and we help support very early days before they make that full leap. And similarly for experienced founders, there's a lot of them that that realize that, oh wow, there are resources here that I can leverage, and you can take what you will of our programming. So there's something for everybody, as they say.
Neat. And as we are wrapping up, Nick, I just want to give a shout out to our lead sponsor for Techopia, which is EY. They've got this cool tagline called "Building a Better Working World." When I hear that, I kind of think of you guys at Invest Ottawa. But I want to ask, if you were to think about that catchphrase, "Building a Better Working World," what do you think you or the people at Invest Ottawa are doing, Nick?
Well, I think, when I think of that, I think of, the companies that we're supporting. All of them are either creating an easier, a more efficient way of living our lives or doing our jobs, or they're solving some major problems, such as, one of the sustainable development goals that we have in society. So I think that's one of the fun parts about this job, is that you really do feel like you're making an impact to make things easier for people.
Yeah, well said. Often when we ask people that question, they respond as you did, in a business way, but also a little bit of altruistic, trying to tackle some sort of societal issue or that type of stuff. So thanks, Nick, for your time today. I really appreciate it. And congratulations to you and the team at Invest Ottawa. Many more years of success. We appreciate you being on the show today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Michael.
All right, as we wrap up, I want to take a look at some of the other great companies that champion OBJ's Techopia project. Techopia is brought to you by many great sponsors, such as EY, Building a Better Working World; Number Crunch, offering virtual CFO services for SaaS companies; Perley Robertson Hill and McDougall, a leader in business and technology sector law; TD Bank, specialized programs for technology companies; the University of Ottawa Faculty of Engineering, creating the next generation of technical talent. Techopia is not only a podcast. We post new articles daily at obj.ca/Techopia. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe and click the bell icon. Thanks again to Nick Quain for joining us today. Great to chat with him. Hey, I want to give you a heads up on something that's happening. Pretty big deal for us at Techopia and OBJ. We're launching a Techopia EY magazine. So we had an idea about a year ago that we needed to do a magazine that kind of zoomed out on the local technology sector. Of course, OBJ and Techopia are doing coverage kind of on a day-to-day basis, but we wanted to provide a little bit more context to it. So we've got a magazine. It launches actually on March 6th. Be available both in a printed copy, digital, and we'll be repurposing some of the content on obj.ca, so you can keep an eye out for that. We hope Techopia is helping you stay connected and informed. Let's keep building Ottawa's technology utopia. That's Techopia. See you soon. Bye-bye.